Give it a second. Give it a second. I have it figured out.
Do you? It's not showing on my screen, and like I'm not on Alana, so.
No, but I think I figured
Oh,
it
oh,
out.
oh, oh, oh!
Hey
I do see
guys.
it. And you're showing me. Please change the
Yes,
screen.
I'm showing. Showing you. Hey everyone, welcome to our live stream. And sorry for being so not prepared for this. Somehow,
Like, sure.
I tried to prepare for this,
Oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
well, okay. Hi everyone. So good to see you. Thank you guys for joining. Hi Jackson. Hi Nada. Hi Kalau. Hi Isa. My God. Hi Icon. It's so nice to see you all here. Okay. So let me try and do the following. I'm gonna split the screen, and as you guys can see, I could really use some help in like teach me how to live stream, please, because I have no idea what I'm doing. Rohan is like, oh my God, like who did I trust with my life here?
Yeah, I got stressed out. Not gonna lie.
Right?
Oof.
Okay, so I'm wondering, can you guys see my full screen? I think you should be able to see my full screen.
I mean, I can see it on mine, so yeah, you're fine.
Okay,
You're good.
cool. Okay, that sounds fair. So today's webinar, and I mean, I would assume you guys joined because you know what it is going to be about, right? So today is all about design nerdy, not harder. AI-driven design for maximum impact. I want to say in the last few months, I have brought AI into all of my workflows. But I refuse to believe that good design or good art comes from AI just by itself. And I think there's like a ton of good reasons for that. And this is also why I brought someone in who is from a very different background. Rohan Mehta is a data scientist, and he can explain so much better than I can some of the underlying methods on how to train an AI, for example. Because I feel for us creators in this like new exciting world, it's really important to understand also parts of the underlying technology. I don't want to imply you guys suddenly have to pick up programming, right, or data science. But obviously, I think it's important to understand how things are being generated, because obviously they don't come out of thin air, right? So this is what we're doing today. We're going to focus on, obviously, on the creator part, but we also want to give you some information that might not be relying just on the idea of being a creator, but more like an educated creator, let's just say. And so, yeah, I want to quickly jump into introduction. So the mule always introduces itself first, so I'm going to go with that strategy.
Okay, no, Mathagatak, before you do that.
Oh, you want to
I
do?
think
Take it
no,
on.
because the live stream is slow. I don't know what's on your screen, so you'll have to share the screen on Google Meet also.
Oh yeah, but everything is slow. Like we're always 60 seconds behind.
Yeah, but I don't know what you're showing when you're talking, right?
Oh, you're not. Oh shit. Okay, that's a good argument. Let me share my screen for you as well, so you know what I'm talking about. Thank you.
AI is taking over Stella's world. That's true.
So look at this. Is this better?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah? Okay, perfect. Okay, so hey guys, this is me. Some of you know me, not everyone, very obviously. My name is Stella. I'm born on November 11th, 1984. I figured like I don't make a big secret out of my age. I'm an oldie, but a goldie. And so cheesy, so corny. I am an only child. I don't have any siblings. I am married, yeah, that's the thing. Don't really know how that happened. You gotta ask my husband. It just happened at some point. And yeah, I studied at the University of Applied Arts Vienna. I studied design, so that is my actual background. I worked in luxury fashion. I worked in fast fashion because sad news is just pays better. And eventually I found my way into digital fashion through becoming a 3D generalist. That was the aim because I do enjoy gaming a lot. That's I like gaming. I wish I had more time to do it. And yeah, on that way, on that route, I kind of tumbled all the way down the rabbit hole into Web3, learned a lot about it, and actually met Rohan as my co-host over at the Token Engineering Academy. Big shout out to them for educating people all with all sorts of background on what is token engineering, how to design self-sustaining tokenized ecosystems. I think probably Rohan would nod on this. Like, we've learned a lot over there, and we continue to do so. Also recently joined the Nouns DAO. This is where my little Nouns is on here. Okay, say hi. I'm part of the Spork DAO, so I've become quite immersed into the space. And also we're gonna make this this whole board, everything. We're gonna make this available to you guys in a bit. This is kind of like, you guys know most of that stuff from my Insta. I don't have to show it to you. But if you feel like exploring at a later stage, be my guest. And now I hand it over to Rohan. Do-do-do.
Hello, guys. You're hearing me talk for the first time. Oh, wait, why is it echoing for me? Should I shut something?
Just let's start with your name.
Oh, no, it's echo. Okay. Okay. Hi, guys. Rohan Mehta. Born, I mean, again, not hiding my age, born in 1996. I grew up in India, pretty much studied here. I have an elder sister who pretty much like takes care of me. Not married and not going to probably. But more importantly, I think for you guys, I studied physics. I really love physics, and you'll see some of the work that I've done on the side. I eventually decided not to go into academia and actually push towards like data science and industry, because I found the kind of like stuff that was happening in data science was just too fascinating. And I guess I worked for a digital marketing agency for a year, and I then immediately switched to Web3 when I found really fascinating work happening there, especially around DAOs, around governance, around I guess even like the moral and ethical things that were being spoken about, just the hope that was there in the industry about how we can change the world potentially for the better was something that really drew me here. And yeah, that's how I met and ended up meeting Stella, same token engineering. I saw her reacting, like heart reacting to everyone's messages, and I was like, oh, this person's super cool. And I started talking to her, and I think immediately we decided, hey, like we click, and we should maybe do a study group together. Yeah. And big shout out to Token Engineering Academy, because I've met amazing people. I've really learned so much, and being able to verbalize so much about my thoughts about the ethics of engineering, about why the things that we do matter in this space. And I really do feel like it's changed a lot of my life in terms of like shaping what I want to do in my world. There are not that many communities that I'm a part of, and Stella keeps shaming me for it. But Token Engineering Academy is a big one. Meta game recently because I helped them with the token system. CAD is a massive one. That's the tool. Machinations and CAD are the tools I use to simulate and model these token systems. And Metrics DAO is something I've recently jumped into because data analytics. But if you want to see my work, it's on the side. I'll just give us a tiny reference to all of these images that you see, which that look like weird bacteria-looking things. These are like liquid crystals that I used to build in my lab. Also, our study group in token engineering is called Visual Learners, and I think it comes from this excitement that I get from everything visual since I was young. Even data visualization was something I was very fascinated by. But I did a lot of data science work in physics in academia, and then now I build these token systems. You can click on these links maybe when you get the Mila note. These are the articles that I'm writing from all the experiments that I'm doing in the space. And yeah, that's most of my work. My data science work, again, I didn't have any pictures, so nothing looks fancy here, but for the most part, it's basically like just whatever, data science. And I'm also helping Stella with the Alana project. Are we allowed to see it? What we're doing? Yeah, building a conversational.
Yeah, feel free to share.
Okay.
Some of them don't know yet, and it's fairly exciting.
Yeah, so we're actually trying to train Alana, build a conversational AI on top of Alana so that she could speak eventually and have more interactive experience of going through Web3. So that's exciting and that's happening. But yeah,
That's super exciting, to be precise. I think it's super
yes.
exciting. Okay, so recently, I want to say a lot of AI tools have been popping up, like literally everywhere, right? And a lot of you have asked a lot of questions. So this seemed like the only, possible answer during a webinar. I think the biggest question that people have asked is this going to cost me my job? And you know what? It is a very fair question. This is also why I put this like very recent video from Wired on the board, and feel free to watch it. We're not going to watch it right now. It's kind of going to be a little bit of a time waster to watch it now because we got more juicy stuff for you. But yeah, watch it and understand better. I think the limitations of AI. There are a lot of limitations and they're very costly. So overcoming them would require so much money and so much energy that it
And
might
data.
not, and data, that it might not actually be worth it to a certain degree. We are also experiencing this right now, training Alana, because you guys know she is essentially, a fictional character. So we need to train her on every fictional thing, and not once or twice, but 10 times, right? That's a volume of data you need to assemble. It's a lot. So take a leap, watch this video. You will be calmed down eventually. I guarantee you that. We
Yeah, and
will
also
also talk a lot
in
about. Oh, yeah, please.
yeah,
Actually,
on that
Rohan has a
note,
good example on that. Go ahead.
yeah, on that note, I really wanted to add that I feel like currently, we don't know where this technology is going. It's very hard to predict generally. But I do believe that currently, where we are seeing this technology moving, uh, it is obviously going to replace a bunch of jobs here and there. It might really speed up so much of the work that we do in some spaces. But I think currently, it's very useful to look at it as a calculator. Like it's going to help you do certain tasks way quicker. It can't do the math. Like the math still you have to do. So I think it's important to see it as a tool that you can use to do things instead of I guess something that'll take over. Like if it doesn't have context, it's not an expert. You're still the expert in the field. You can use it as a tool like a calculator. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We're also going to dive a little bit into the ethics of AI. Reason for that is we tend to have this attitude of thinking that these things are being ruled by companies, and this is why we are free from responsibility, right? It's not like that. And this is the case, and I know you guys probably get sick of me saying this all the time, but it's also this is an underlying thing of Web3, right? It requires like self-responsible acting to some degree. And we are right now the first generation that, essentially applies these technologies. So we play a big role in how it is being, moved forward in that sense, right? We shape this future of AI because we are the ones using it. We are the ones supplying more data to it. So please don't ever underestimate your ethical implications in utilizing these tools. I think it's really, really important. Also, today we're going to focus on 4 main tools with our little exercises because we have little like group exercises we can do together. We're going to work with ChatGPT, we're going to work with Midjourney, we're going to work with Dream AI, and we're going to work with Skybox Lab. If we get to it, that is, because we might run out of time on the last one. So, let's dive into a little bit of a theoretical context. I know none of you are very eager for that part, but we gotta do it, We gotta do what we gotta do. So, most of you know AI, a short, right, version of artificial intelligence, is the theory and development of computer systems able to perform tasks that usually require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translation between languages. I don't want to read this. Instead, I want to say one thing and then get in more of a discussion with Rohan about this. But I was pretty surprised when I learned that the foundations for AI have been essentially, they lie back 100 years from now. Like, that was quite surprising. It feels like a technology that is, impacting us now, and maybe people started working on this like, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago, not 100. So I don't know, you're as a data scientist, like probably that didn't come as a surprise to you, did it?
It was a surprise to me back in college when I was reading up on like the neural networks, because we had a course on neural networks and fuzzy logic, and I think it was quite a surprise that certain like very primitive like artificial intelligence that we could see was like 1996. Like at least for me, that's the era where I started really hearing about it. I actually didn't know it went back that far. Like this was news to me. Yeah.
They're actually just asking in the chat, like, if people knew this, and I think, Simo is already responding 100. Wow. Yeah, it's unexpected in a way. And also, the technology has died down. So, kind of like roller coaster motion, right? It had like a high peak. There was a lot of investment, a lot of money put into this. And then, they found out either the hardware was not there or the software experience or both were not there. And then it died down again, and then it, pulled up again. So it's been quite a roller coaster. What do you think this means, like, for this, what we're in right now, the experience we are having in right now? Will there be
Yeah.
a bump in the road again? Will this like whole hype die down a little bit and then go up again? Like, what do you think?
With every technology, I do feel like it's hard to say, like because generally these technologies go on like these exponential curves, which eventually flatline at some point. Now, it kind of matters where we are on that curve. Like, are we on the beginning of it? Then we are going to see massive disruptions, massive changes in the way we experience the world. Like, it'll be a revolution, like almost like any other revolution we've seen, where you have a massive uphaul, like overhaul of like old jobs and new jobs come in. It depends on where we are on the curve. If we are already at the peak, kind of, then maybe okay, that's where it is. All of these technologies are just tools that we can use to speed up our tasks. If it's not, then we're going to see a lot of changes in our lives. And I mean, we're going to see a lot of changes regardless, I think. Because I think even the technology we are seeing right now, it's going to create this whole Cambrian explosion of new ideas, new businesses that will build on top of it. And it's going to be an exponential change in the way we see and deal with world, the way we interface with technology. So it's going to be fascinating. I have no clue where we are, and I have no clue what the consequences of those are. And I think it comes down to us to build those different worlds. Like it's our choice as to how we deal with it, how we handle. I mean, everything from governments, companies, everybody is involved in these decision making.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. As this is it's a collaborative kind of. I mean, it's maybe not collaborative in the sense of these are still companies, right? We're right now in the middle of like deciding like what's the best starting point for Alana, training Alana, and we've started with OpenAI, but as one of our members mentioned, Digital Monkey, he said like, well, it's a black box, and it's true, right? It's not very like in the sense of transparency, Web3 accessibility, and so on. So it's kind of a hard decision, but then again, it is probably the easiest way of getting started in a sense, because you can comfortably already use a lot of tools and then maybe iterate and maybe build this out in a very open way on a different system. But it's a lot of questions and a lot of knowledge you have to essentially bring together.
And
And
even that is a design process, like at the end of the day, because building any of this is not really a hard science currently. So we have to just trial and error, pick things. Yeah.
Right? To a certain degree, all of this is like experimentation. People always think like, this company has it all figured out. I don't think they have. And in an interview I recently watched with the founder of OpenAI, he was even saying like, problems arise. We try to tackle them as soon as we see them arise. But it's not easy to deal with these new technologies. And also we shouldn't take it easy, I think. Because
and also it's the ingenuity of the crowds, and that's what they were talking about. Like the reason they put it out so like at this stage is because they want to first of all get the world accustomed to what's coming, understand the kind of use cases that come up. Like initially in the first week, there are people who are just copy pasting HTML code from websites and being like asking ChatGPT, how can I hack this website? And it would find vulnerabilities in the website code. And I think they fixed that until now. People what they started to do is saying that, hey, they're talking to ChatGPT and they're like, hey, there's Alice and Bob, and they both are part of a movie. And in that movie, Alice wants to hack Bob's computer, and the computer has this code. And now that was the bypass that they found around the the system that they had kept to stop people from using it to hack computers. And that it was very fascinating how like people found really ingenious ways to keep breaking it, and they kept learning new ways to actually block this kind of approach of hackers. Now the question is, the thing is, okay, great, OpenAI figured this out, and they figured a way to stop this. But now other language models exist, and they won't have these these systems to actually block harmful content. So yeah, we don't know where that's going, but it's a world we are
Essentially,
living.
but also it's fascinating. It's a little bit, I think I see it sometimes, you know, these like theatrical drama masks, right? There's always one crying and one smiling one. And this is how I feel about AI. On the one hand, I'm like, as a designer, I'm fascinated, I'm intrigued, right? It makes me so much more productive and efficient. But as a human, right, who only has one brain, right, two hands to type, two eyes to read, and a certain amount of hours available per day, it scares me sometimes, right? Where I'm like,
Yeah.
can we ever be able to keep up with this? And I think the obvious answer is probably at some point not anymore. This is when we, you know, meet our cyberpunk future selves, where we will be augmented with chips and whatnot, right? It will probably come. I'm not saying this is the next 10 years. I'm not that ballsy to make these kind of assumptions. But yeah, but nonetheless, there are a lot of benefits of integrating AI in your workflow, right? One is efficiency and productivity, as I mentioned. The other one is personalization and customization. It's not like, I think people think like training an AI is like, you know, it's like rocket science. It's kind of not, right? It involves a lot of research, but it is not necessarily. Also, you can adapt a lot of models that are already out there to embed into, for example, if you're running, let's say, an online store of some sort, right? I know, Rohan, you brought this up before. Have like a very customized chatbot that is based on AI. There's a lot of tools that you can embed right now and definitely create like a more personalized experience for your customers, right? Simon was just typing, yeah, it can become quite stressful. I tend to agree to that. Then obviously improve quality and consistency, right? So if I don't have to write all of my social media captions by myself and I can utilize at least, let's say, for the half of that effort AI, that makes me so much more consistent on social media, right? Scalability and flexibility is also a huge thing. I don't know, do you have anything to add to these like benefits? I kept it like very general, to be honest, but
No, I think the benefits mainly come down to how much, like how capable we are at understanding like what this tool is and where it can be used. I think it's pretty much gonna also change based on all the tools that are coming out, because there's so many. Like currently we are only talking about the text to like the conversational bots, but there's so many like text to image bots that you'll show, that image to text bots that'll start coming out. Like there are many different kinds of technologies that is tied to these things, and I feel like maybe like what do you call it, like just putting them on top of each other, stacking them up, is going to really bring in a lot more intelligence that'll be automated, which again comes down to like, again, how do we use it? I have no particular benefits that I can think of beyond these, but they're just so many. It's just, yeah, you have to keep it general.
no, I agree with you. I think the true secret sauce lies actually in the risks and challenges, right? Because this is where we humans come in, and this is also probably my answer for the question that Lauren just, or Kalau just put in the chat. She's asking, how can we preserve craft and keep growing in knowledge while using AI shortcuts, right? Do you want to answer this, Rohan?
I mean, on one hand, computers have already like made, let's say, for example, graphic design easy, right? Like we have these like tablets which you can draw with. There are so many brushes and paints and like all these tools that exist in the digital design field already, which obviously wasn't a thing before. So we could have complained about that taking away a lot of our like I guess skill and art and stuff, but clearly it doesn't. It clearly just enables more people to do more things. And I feel like that's where currently AI, like all of these AI tools are too. Like they aren't good enough to actually replace any artists. They aren't really good enough. Like I mean, you see moments of brilliance sometimes here and there, but for the most part, they lack context. They lack understanding, and I think there's still a lot of humanness that it does not have. And I think that's where we fit in. I think it just currently it's a tool that automates the boring stuff and takes away the burden of actually writing like 20, 30 emails every day. Like all of that can be taken away out of the plates. And honestly, there's a good argument to be made that it wasn't necessarily a good thing that we were doing that all day. Like there are so many people whose jobs really, really aren't something a human should be doing day in and day out. And maybe a lot of those things might be automated, and that's a good thing. Who knows?
Yeah, true and good thought. Yeah.
Mm.
When it comes to risk and challenges, I want to highlight a few of them because I find them quite important. They also frame better why we shouldn't be, super fearful about losing our jobs. That is, if we keep up to date, right? So I think I don't, obviously don't want to like put force on people to use AI, but I do want to put some force on the idea of getting familiar with it, right? See how this can benefit you. Like, what are workflows that you struggle with or that take a lot of time from you, right? That you can make easier with these tools. I think that is what we truly want to do, right? We don't want them to replace our creativity. We want them to replace the stuff that,
Mundane stuff.
yeah, it just takes too long, right?
Mm.
Okay, so lack of originality is, for example, a big risk I feel with AI. So best example I have for you guys is if you know the Alana project and you've been in our server, you also might have come across Deep Thought since he's very active in the different chats. And he was one of the first people to suggest we also have the Midjourney channel. And I remember him prompting something very, very pretty right in the beginning. It was a female face, dark skin color, very futuristic look to it, right? I want to say 2 months after I prompted something very different, actually for an explainer, put in a very different prompt. And I ended up, and I checked this then in the channel, I ended up with a very similar result. And that shocked me a little bit. And maybe this is where you can explain better, Rohan, how AI, image generators are actually being trained. Because this is also where the ethical concerns and copyright issues might come in place.
Yeah, and I think most of these models that we see are currently trained on like loads and loads of data. Like it's just massive chunks of data, which in some of these cases they are not even like we don't know if they are taking in data that was copyrighted, that was not copyrighted, and they are being trained to basically what do you say? At least for language models, I'm pretty sure about, like, I'm more sure about how it works. With image models, I haven't really read too much. But the principles are the same, that it's trained on a lot of data. So it's going to basically sample from the data that's trained from. So it's going to take bits and pieces from the stuff that's more sensible for the prompt that you've given. And what ends up happening is sometimes that what it will generate will be the exact same image that it was trained on, or at least something so similar that it would come under the threat of copyright, because if that original image was, then it's a problem. So I think there's a lot of what do you call it? You have to be really careful about how we are gonna actually use the images that we generate from these. And I think you have a bunch of examples from what I've seen, like of where it was very clear that this was an actual art piece or actual design that someone else had done before, which came out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think many of you have heard from the movement No AI Art that emerged from ArtStation, from users of ArtStation, because the ArtStation website was completely scrapped to train Midjourney and other visual image generators, and obviously without the artist's consent. Right. And this is also, why Web3 becomes so much more important, right? Because you want to be the owner of your data, not someone else, right? And scraping gets so much more difficult if it's minted on a blockchain, and if the actual data is secured within, for example, an Arweave storage, right? That's a very different thing. So brings us back to why Web3 is so important. Okay, cool. But okay, you can read up on these like different points. I think I laid them out so they are also very readable. So we can move on to like the more exciting part. But before we get into the first exercise with Rohan, Rohan wanted to talk a little bit more about language models and how they work before we actually do a language model exercise. So I'm gonna just jump into this board, and yeah, here you go.
Yeah. So basically, the reason I feel like it's important, I understand that not everybody needs to know how these language models work. Neither do I. I think understanding a little bit about what's going on under the hood helps us use these technologies a little better. So basically, if you look at ChatGPT, which mostly everyone's heard of, but it like or GPT-3, GPT-4, I don't know if you've heard of these things, but they're basically massive language models. They're trained on huge, huge, huge chunks of data. But what they're actually doing is just guessing what the next word is in a sentence. So it's trained to just be a probability, like it samples from a probability distribution as to what the next word should be, what the next word should be, or series of words if it's a larger model. And that's what ChatGPT does. It seems surprisingly effective for what it's doing, which is just guessing words. But that's what it is doing. And if you have already interacted with these things before. If you've not opened ChatGPT, you probably text in, if you have an iPhone or Android too now, I think when you type out your messages, it gives you these predictive texts on top. I think you can like guess the next word. And that's basically a language model. It's not as effective. It loses context very quickly. If you keep pressing the top choice, you see that how it ends up in loops or these random things. But because it loses context, it's just trying to guess the next word. But that's what basically ChatGPT is. It's not intelligent in the sense that you think a human is. It's a really good guesser, and that's all pretty much it comes down to. It understands a little bit of context. It understands a little bit of what the next word should be. There are many other language models, and there's a link that I've given here, which is Facebook's Blender bot, which is the one that I think we were initially planning to train Alana on. This also, you can actually go to this website and play around with it. There's a chat section on the top, and you can play. Hugging Face is a beautiful website, by the way. All kinds of models that you want to see, text to image, image to text, all kinds of like voice, speech recognition, everything is out here, and you can play with them. So it's very fascinating. What I wanted to actually highlight here is once you understand, okay, all it's doing is guessing what it's doing and what the next word should be. You also understand that you can actually explain the context better. So that's where prompt engineering comes in. And on the right, Stella, if you can move the screen a little bit. That's where like engineering techniques really take up. Well, prompt engineering means prompt is something that's how you're interfacing with the model, where you're writing a question as a prompt, you're getting a response, and you're writing a prompt again. So these prompts that you write, you can actually come up with clever ways to explain the context of what you're trying to do better, and explain to it like what you want out of it. So these are some examples that I just pointed out, which is that you can actually just literally talk to it as if like, hey, I will send you some text, and your job will be to give a 4-line summary followed by bullet points, and that should include important numbers or figures. So now you can just copy paste an entire financial report of some whatever website and then paste it here, and it'll remove all the important numbers and figures, and it becomes like, almost like an app that can keep doing it for you again and again and again on that chat. The next one also was very interesting, where you can do it this way, where you can say my input is equal to text, and then use that as an almost like a variable that you do in coding. I'm not sure how much y'all are yeah, accustomed to it, but it's basically the techniques through which you can actually come up with much more effective ways of using the technology. And the best way to actually figure out which technique works for you is to go to the Discord channel of OpenAI, and they have a prompt engineering section of it. And that section has just everybody's experiments on different prompt engineering techniques. I can show you one that I was playing around with today. and maybe I've not actually typed it out, so we'll see how it works. And yeah, I don't know. This advanced prompt section in the bottom, that's how you work with Midjourney. Like if you work with Midjourney, again, there's an image prompt, text prompt, and parameters. And once you understand how these models work and how to play around with them, you'll quickly come into issues where it doesn't really understand what you're trying to make it do. And that's where, if you know prompt engineering well, you can actually go past those hurdles and barriers, and you can actually use this technology way more effectively than you do normally. Yeah. Can we go back? Like, oh, you have any thoughts here, Stella?
I was just asked to proudly show my Alana shirt.
Oh,
So
I see. I was wondering, okay,
like,
why are you smiling at me
yo,
for no
I'm
reason?
posing. It's the best shirt
Yeah.
ever. I hope that did the trick.
I love it, yeah.
Yeah, let's jump into the exercise. Do you want to share your screen, or should I keep sharing my screen and you just give me instructions? What
I
is your
think it's
preference?
better. My ChatGPT thing is working, so I think I'll might as well share my screen.
Okay, cool. Okay. Let
Yeah.
me
Like,
change my presentation slide. So now you're on.
mm-hmm.
Let me
You'll have to
check.
check if it fits in the frame. Is that okay?
Yes. Yes. Perfect.
Okay, perfect.
I should see
Okay,
this.
I want to give you some examples of where I actually used this earlier. So I was sitting in a cafe. A friend of mine had come over for a fashion design collection. Like, she was trying to design a fashion design collection actually, and her idea was that she wanted to I like build a fashion design collection based on Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World." And what we did is, okay, let's see if ChatGPT can come up with like good examples. Is my screen visible, by the way?
Yeah,
If I'm
it
zooming
shows
in.
up. It shows up. Yeah, elements of jazz from Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World," right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that's how we thought about doing it. First of all, we just go to the chat. I mean, OpenAI website, open ChatGPT. It's a very easy process. You just have to sign up once, and you just start typing. Like, what I typed as elements of jazz in Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World," and it starts telling me, okay, hey, like Louis Armstrong's distinctive vocal style is a thing, vibrato laden notes. You see swinging rhythm and bluesy melodies. And then you're like, hey, act like a fashion designer, which is a very, very effective prompt, by the way. Just you have to say like what you want the ChatGPT to act like. So act like a fashion designer and convert these elements into a concept fashion design collection. And the ideas that it came up with within seconds were okay. Maybe a human can do better. Experienced human can do way better. But to get to this stage within 5 seconds or 10 seconds is amazing. The ideas that it's giving us is, oh, we should work with the playful, whimsical, energy-filled style, the improvisational phrasing, eclectic patterns and prints to reflect the improvisational phrasing. That's cool. Um, to pay homage to Armstrong's trumpet playing, we can incorporate brass accents and hardware into collection. Now, this is already fascinating. Like, this is already something that, wow, like a chatbot just came up with these brilliant ideas, which I would be convinced that a person has done this. So it was fascinating that you can get there. You can move on to actually getting in more details, and eventually ask it to describe a fashion editorial image for this dress, and take those prompts into Midjourney and start building prompts. And that's, I guess, an exercise that we'll do eventually. I'm not sure where Stella was going with the exercise stuff, but apart from that, apart from actually just thinking through ideas with ChatGPT, the my entire data science projects currently, in fact, the ones that I linked on my introduction page on Melanode, were completely done on ChatGPT. By the way, I was just describing what I want the Python code to do, and it will give me the code. I'll copy paste it into my Python like IDE and just make some changes here and there. And it just gives me an entire data science project, which is pretty crazy.
By the
So
way,
like, yeah,
I've also done this for Blender scripting. There's a lot of Blender
yeah.
scripting you can do on here because it also runs on Python. So for you creators out there, Blender, you can run it on code, right? Because it's an open section. But I don't know how it works for you, but I run it in a lot of bugs and errors for the scripts. And
That
this
always
is when
happens.
it gets like very daunting.
Yeah, I think that is something that will keep happening. Even for me, there were a lot of errors, and debugging is something I had to do every time. But what I could do is copy paste the error into ChatGPT and have a discussion about, like, it'll come up with ideas how to solve it. So it's not perfect. There's a lot of errors everywhere. You still need coders. We are not going anywhere. But it can take away most of the task of actually Googling, going through like 20 pages, going through like Stack Overflow of other people's errors. All of that kind of is partially automated. And that's pretty fascinating. Um,
Let's do an
the
exercise. Let's do
oh,
something
we are
fun.
good?
Yeah, let's do something fun.
Okay.
So guys, if you're already in the chat, whoever is first gets to be on this live stream, right? So who has an idea on what they want to prompt for a larger concept? Lauren is saying like, who even needs bodies these days? Haha. So who wants something to be prompted? Come on, you're my designer girls. There must be something you're super eager to do and you haven't done it yet. And Rohan is here to perfect that prompt. So now is your unique chance.
I wanted to actually try this prompt, which is it creates a prompt for you.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, and it keeps on making it better over time. I want to try
Okay.
this, but yeah, let's see. Let's see if we can get it. A digital burger is the prompt.
He's first. What can we do? Wait, what is the question, Lauren? You guys needed to have something that you wanted to prompt. Okay, let's go with digital burger. He was first.
What does that mean, though? Do I want to make a digital burger?
Burger as a suit. So essentially, let's say it's a fashion collection inspired by burgers.
Ah, okay.
Let's go with it. This is like fairly hilarious, to be honest. So let's go with a strange example. Nick is always here to rescue the day.
But wait, so how do I type this again? I want to design a fashion collection
inspired by burgers.
Burgers. Okay, let's see.
Please help.
Okay, this is a prompt. So the way I've written it is, I want you to become a prompt creator. Your goal is to help me craft the best possible prompt for my needs. Your first response will be to ask what the prompt should be about. I will provide my answer, but you'll have to improve it. So there are three things it's gonna do. It's gonna revise my prompt. It's gonna give suggestions and ask questions. So we can actually make our prompt better and better over time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So now basically I made it an app that gives me better prompts that I can use to make the perfect prompt to actually get what I want, which is like a meta level of prompt engineering, I guess. But yeah, so interesting prompt. Based on that, here are my suggestions. Revise prompt. Design a fashion collection inspired by burgers. Your collection should showcase the creativity and playfulness of the fast food staple while also incorporating elements of high fashion. So I guess the fast food staple was not the right thing, right? I'm assuming, Stella?
Yeah, I think this is great.
Wait, no, but when we're talking about burger, are we talking about an actual burger?
Yeah, we're talking about an actual burger because Burger House is like, that's his thing. So.
Okay.
Yeah, you cannot know that, but that's his thing.
Okay. Maybe there's a inside joke here that I'm missing. But yeah, there are a bunch of suggestions. What type of burger do you want to focus on? Will it be limited to one particular type of restaurant? So if we add these, we can actually make a better prompt. And the questions are, do you have a specific idea for garments or styles that you want to include in the collection? What is the target audience for this collection? Do we have any answers here? Maybe Stella, you can help me think through this.
Sorry, I'm actually picking up on the chat as well. So guys, maybe you can scroll up once more. I think this was a little bit too fast. So you have to think of ChatGPT working in different folders. So on the left, you see like all of these little like chat bubbles, right? Every chat you start serves essentially a specific purpose. Right? So in this specific chat, what Rohan initiated was a prompt creator. So this whole prompt creator having like 1, 2, 3 like steps that it always goes through. So instead of directly just answering, right, it will always now be first prompted to run to those 3 steps and give you essentially return answers to make the answers even better in the future. So that is kind of like the structure in which Rohan set this up. So you can tell, like, the more creative you approach this and the better you understand the technology, the more exciting your prompts can become, right? And obviously, you know, all of this will be recorded and is being recorded, so you can look this up, right? You can develop your own prompt generator from here. And then, yeah, so he asked, you know, or said, I want to design a fashion collection inspired by burgers, right? So first it revises the prompt as in, design a fashion collection inspired by burgers. Your collection should showcase the creativity and playfulness of the fast food staple while also incorporating elements of high fashion. I do like this. I do like this rephrasing. It sounds really
let's
great.
actually just
And
use
probably
this. Yeah.
something we can use very well at a later stage also in Midjourney. So I think
Right.
that's awesome.
So actually, let's go to the ChatGPT chat and see if it comes up with anything. Like, this is a new chat that I started now, and I typed the prompt that we created with a prompt generator, to actually, which also was on ChatGPT, to make up. Now it's going to answer the question of designing a fashion collection inspired by burgers, and the collection will showcase creativity, playfulness, and of the fast food staple, incorporating elements of high fashion. So look one, the classic burger. The classic burger inspired this um, chicken timeless look. A tailored blazer with a bold red and white stripe, pants, pairs, perfectly with a pleated skirt. Oh man, this is like detailed. Are you impressed already, Stella? Is this gonna work for us?
This is great. I think we should go with the first one to try out in Midjourney. I also feel like
Okay.
you should be trying this one out.
Oh, I should be? No, I'm gonna pass it on to you.
You think
My
so?
journey is almost done. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But
Okay. And
let me check. Let me check the chat. Everyone is hungry now. Great, we managed that. So everyone's gonna be off for lunch or dinner in a second. And yeah, I think you guys have you expected like some kind of like working procedure like this, and also maybe we can go back to your original
Mhm.
thing, prompt generator, sorry. Because
Yeah.
here, so the first part is the rephrasing, right? That's the one we just tested out, and it's really great.
Yeah.
It's so helpful, right? The
Mm.
suggestions is what type of burgers do you want to focus on, right? What colors and textures. So you can become much more precise, but I think we can become much more precise when we go over to Midjourney.
Mhm.
Then, like, questions. Do you have any specific ideas for garments or styles that you want to include? So it literally helps you to cover like all aspects of formulating, you know, a fashion collection, at least the concept for it for now, right?
Yeah, check this out. Check this out.
Yeah.
For example, you could use burger-shaped buttons, prints featuring burger toppings, or even fabrics that look like sesame seed buns. It's already brilliant. I love it.
My God, this is so cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go back to like the more theoretical part for now.
Yeah.
But we're gonna hop in back soon into exercising stage, so don't worry. This is we keep making this fun. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
and I passed it on to you, by the way. They're on the Google
yeah,
chat.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna perfect. Okay, I'm gonna plop you away for at least for
Okay.
now. At least for now.
Mhm.
Okay. So I wanted to show you guys. Also, it's so nice to see you guys so lively and excited. Okay. So here are some examples on how I have integrated AI into my workflow, right? Or how we are doing this generally speaking right now in Alana in a lot of different segments. So the first time I actually used it was for Alana's blockchain candy. I know some of you have already taken the back task journey, but just in case you haven't, I'm gonna quickly pop in the link in the chat because you guys should really try it out because it's super, super fun to do. And you can win some blockchain candy over this, which I think should be excitement enough because blockchain candy is so good. And also it's so fascinating that we're only talking about, you know, fictional food right now. Okay, so first time I used this was in regards of, generating this blockchain candy, because I needed something that is like more unique. Like, what is blockchain candy? We don't know yet, right? So I needed to define that. And I figured like putting together a normal mood board is good, but also working my way through AI felt like a good idea to combine. And so I used actually at the time, I used Midjourney for this, I did. But obviously, it was several months ago. Midjourney wasn't where it is now. And still, I utilized a lot of Photoshop to actually put this like idea together. So it eventually resulted in this, right? Which is the 3D model. But yeah, to get there, you can use this so well as like a concepting kind of process. But yeah, it cannot make this for you. I'm so sorry to say, it cannot make this for you, right? It can, in the meantime, it can produce 3D models, but they're either very, very expensive to generate, or they are, or I should say, they're actually not living up to a good standard. So you will have to do a lot of cleanup work to get them to a good standard. This is one example. Then I think some of you have seen recently my post from Midjourney to AR wearable. So I'm excited to say this is going to be on at the beginning, I think, of April. It's also going to join the 010 platform. Hence, I said AR wearable, even though it's not there yet. But that is an example, right? Then we have Alana's archive. We have utilized for the community hub that we are building currently. We have utilized AI in a not very recognizable way, I want to say, for these summarized descriptions. And here comes in a little warning because I know obviously all of these collections that I've been summarizing and writing about, and AI doesn't recognize these kind of classifications, right? So AI will always go by the year that the fashion collection was actually launched, not the year that the fashion collection was shown as in, right? So that is something very important because we always have this in like a year of advance kind of thing, right? So several times it actually prompted and was quoting the wrong fashion collections. So this is only something you can overcome as a human being knowledgeable about these kind of things. Otherwise, you run into the honey trap, right? And you're just being fooled by the AI as like, yeah, I'm very confident about this. This is the fashion collection. Can you please support me on this one?
No, yeah. Never trust any numbers that are coming out of ChatGPT. That's what I've learned. Like, even with physics problems that I was trying to solve, it will give all the reasoning right, but it'll mess up with one, like 100 into 2 is like 125. Like, it'll do the most basic math completely wrong. So math is terrible on ChatGPT. All the numbers and data might be wrong because it's so confident about it. It seems to be too overconfident even about the things that it's clearly wrong about. So it's like it's not something you can really trust at all.
Yeah, I
Currently.
agree. It's like trust is good, control is better is a phrase that we use in Germany a lot, and I totally agree on this. Also, want to highlight one of our utility kit competition winners, Astro Porcelain. She's been working very intensively on making her garment come to life, but also her keys that she originally suggested in her concept. And I think she recently posted an initial video of that. And as you can see, we prompted a lot of those keys just with AI to then take a twist on them, right? So we purposefully decided to not just use whatever the AI gave us, but instead we put it together in Photoshop and made them truly unique and truly fitting to what we wanted to tell with our story through these keys, right? And I think that is something that's also not very replaceable right now. AI cannot do that for you because it depends on the story you want to tell, right? The reason why people felt intrigued or keep feeling intrigued by Alexander McQueen, actually, they think that we would always appreciate coming from humans. So, yeah. just wanted to show those as in like, you know, this is how we are doing this. Obviously, there are many more examples, but also maybe not right now. Also put a this in, which is some recent examples of projects that are dealing purely with AI, right? Or integrated AI in their workflow. So there's obviously the Midjourney magazine, right? Consisting of just AI art made on Midjourney. There is Cyberpunk Peach John. It's essentially a manga by an author who has never drawn anything in his life. So usually there was an illustrator doing that part of the work. Probably interesting to check out. Then there is a show on Twitch, kind of like, you know, mimicking 90s sitcom Seinfeld. It's called Nothing Forever. And a lot of it is generated by AI, so kind of interesting to look at.
I think you showed me this, right?
Yeah, I think so. The Bestiaria Chronicles and Zaraya of the Dawn, other projects to look at and maybe enjoy, maybe hate.
Cool, yeah.
You know, that's up to us, I guess. Want to get into the next exercises, guys? Let's do it. Are we good? We want to do this? We want to try out the prompt on Midjourney? Let's do it. It's going to be so exciting. I hope. I don't know.
This delay between YouTube and our stream and the comments already like is bothering me. It's like I want answers right now.
Yeah, I want answers. I also want answers right now. Okay. Let me take this. We're gonna copy paste what you send us. That's our first approach. And let's go to the Alana server, because on here, if you are a collaborator, I think this is the minimum stage you need to have, I think. Or is this open to everyone? No, it's not open to everyone. You guys have to become collaborators. This is the secret sauce. So the same procedure counts for if we're doing this on my screen and on Alana's Discord, or if you're going into the official Midjourney channel, right? It's the same process. So first you have to put in a backslash. This is how you activate essentially the prompt machine, right? And the only prompt you really need at this time is the imagine prompt. So we're going to click on this, and this is where we can, let's just insert this and let this sink in. So the description right now says, this look is inspired by the cheesy goodness of a cheeseburger. A flowy mid-length dress made from a silky, buttery yellow fabric features a cascading ruffle down the front, mimicking the melted cheese on a burger. A statement necklace shaped like a slice of cheese adds a fun and playful touch. Okay, that is like our prompt, and also for you guys to have some fun with this. I cannot. Oh, it's too long. I cannot put it on the chat. I wish I could. We will put it on the board.
That's why I tried. It didn't work.
Yeah. So Burger House is already typing here. Can you see him? He's like, I want to do this. I want to do it. I want to run this now. This is the burger of the future. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we need to make sure there are some other things in here. So just running this text will not help us. Also having dots in here will not help us. So what we did is Tina nailed it. She pinned this onto our channel. So you can go to the little pin button up here and can go to the documentation, right? And now, sorry for this, Rohan. I'm like, sorry for this. I'm going to hide you for a second. You have to go to the user guide. And in here, you can find everything you need additionally to what you want to do. Right? So you want to have the description, that's true. But you also want to make sure you have certain parameters in place. So one of the ones that is like very important to us as we want to do a fashion piece is the aspect ratio, for example. Right? So the aspect ratio, in our case, I want to choose 4:7. I think that's kind of fair. I think it's a fair ratio. So I'm gonna say, actually gonna put something in before. But this is me. I usually always used to put 8K, just in case, you know. Then I put a double minus and an AR, and then I put the 4:7. So that is kind of important to have. I think you don't really have to read those docs. You just look them up when you need something. So you don't have to be aware of every little detail. You just need to know that some of these things exist. So for example, in Kirsty's case, who's like a professional fabric designer or textile designer, for her it's obviously very important to know about the prompt tile, right? Because tile textures is a thing on Midjourney. You can produce them. But you need to know that this is actually a thing to be able to use it. So I don't think it's important to know everything. It's more important to know this is out there and I can do this, right? Okay, so once we've figured out this, Rohan, any suggestions on how we should structure the prompt?
I have this one image that I think we can steal the prompt from. I'm adding it to this thing here.
Ooh, nice. Okay. So
Because I really love the fashion, like the photography they did. Yeah.
no, this is great. So, but he's essentially pointing out the most important thing. So, what is it that you do want to visualize, right? There is a hierarchy to what you want to visualize. All of us have learned this during design education at some point, that hierarchy matters, right? So, what is the thing we want people to know? We want them to know that this is a flowy mid-length dress made from a silky buttery yellow fabric, right? Featuring cascading ruffle down the front. That's the first thing we want people to know. We don't necessarily need them to know it's inspired by a cheesy burger, right? This is something we could put later on. So we want, I want to say, flowy mid-length dress made from a silky, buttery yellow fabric.
Even I didn't know this. I didn't know that it matters.
Yeah, it does matter. Like brutally, it does matter. If you put the wrong thing in the front, it gives you everything but what you're looking for. I'm also thinking this might be too detailed of a description to actually work. But we're just gonna try it on a burger, right?
Would the weights help? Like maybe adding weights?
Probably, but I'm always, I'm a fan of keeping it simple in the first one and then getting like more into details in the next levels.
Okay.
But you're right, weights will help. So, flowy mid-length dress made from a silky buttery yellow fabric featuring a cascading ruffle down the front, mimicking the melted cheese on a burger. Inspired, so we don't need this, inspired by the cheesy goodness of a cheeseburger. A statement necklace shaped like a slice of cheese adds a fun, playful touch. I think if we were to add this, it would be confusing. So I'm just going to take this out for now. And we're just going to run this and see what happens, because maybe it gets it all wrong. It happens all the time. So don't be like, disencouraged seeing this. Also, what's going on in the chat while this is running? Because sometimes it takes a bit. Gotta read those stuff.
Oh, I can already see a very good one. Like it got the idea right.
Got the idea, yeah. I think it did. But I think we need to add some stuff, because I remember us wanting to have like a high fashion touch to this. Right now, that's not giving us a very high fashion touch. I can already tell. So there are some additional things we might want to consider to do.
It just straight up has a burger printed on it.
But I like that it comes up with this like melting graphics. That is actually kind of nice. Yeah, it's neat in a way. Okay, so this is our result. Not quite what we were looking for, I think.
The first one's cool though, I'm not gonna lie.
Which one? This one?
First one gets the vibe.
First one gets the vibe. I agree with you. So the flowy thing, I think the flowy thing is good. So I'm just gonna copy this again, and I'm prompting in another one. So flowy mid-length dress made from a silky buttery yellow fabric featuring a cascading ruffle down the front. That's not mimicking the melted cheese on a burger, inspired by the cheesy goodness of a cheeseburger. Any suggestions? Oh, look, Kalau is getting there. I doubt it would be high quality, however, I still need to experiment. Seamless textures. You can now add tile after your prompts to generate seamless textures. Yeah, actually it works fairly well. Use a checker to make sure it's tiled correctly. Oh, you guys are getting like right into it. I can already tell. Where are you prompting this stuff? You should prompt it on here. Okay. So I think a flowy mid-lengthy, let's say haute couture dress made from a silky, buttery, yellow, fine fabric. Right, let's just try this. Like, this has to do with being patient and iterating. We
So
can
is this how you
also,
do it? Like just slight iteration?
yeah, sometimes it does just slide. I'm curious, this one will probably not be very slight. We can also add a white background, for example, right? So if we want to control the background, because maybe we want to cut it out later, right? Kissy's like, hire me instead. Why can we not hire you both? We can hire you being like the prompt engineer mastermind behind whatever comes out of here, right? Oh man, this is getting better, I feel. Or at least it's getting more interesting, more high fashion.
Right. Also, yeah, faces are not the nicest on Midjourney.
Oh yeah, there's a trick to that as well. Actually,
Really?
yeah, there's a little bit of a trick. It doesn't work all the time, but it does work from time to time. Let's just say, where you say defined eyes, and also shout out to Javo because this is something that I learned from him. And also you can say something like, so this is, for example, the white background one, right? And you can tell then you have much less variation in the background. So that can be helpful. Actually, I like this one a lot. It looks like a cheeseburger, but without looking like a cheeseburger. It's kind of
Yeah.
a
Because
very
it's
neat approach.
I'll be honest, it's pretty insane that we got to this with like in 5 months, right? Like we created a prompt and we already got it pretty much visualized.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
No, absolutely agree.
Like this is way beyond me. There's no way I would have done this. Like maybe if I have an idea and I want to pass it to a designer, this is such a cool way to do it. Like quick way to do it.
No, it absolutely is. I find one of my biggest challenge in working with freelance or with clients as a freelancer is getting, like, there are two things. One thing is them being able to describe exactly what they want, so I have an easy time to translate, right? The second problem in that is getting them to understand how much time then it takes to translate. So the example I showed essentially, and this is why I made this, right? I kind of wanted to prove my point with the candy bubble suit. So, I had obviously a very easy time to prompt this on Midjourney, right? It was like easy to prompt. There was like no special engineering or anything, right? But then translating this into something like this, that's a whole different level of a challenge, and it takes you days to do that, right? And this didn't even involve like highly customized textures. And this is something we also need to understand clients, that while now this part has become fairly exciting and easy, this part hasn't changed one bit, and it's a massive amount of work, right? And that is sadly, what people don't see. This is also the part I think that discourages a lot of designers, right? They're like, man, like now they think we can do this in like a split second. Well, really, we cannot. We're still bound to this technology, and it's a one by one like translation, right? So on this video, you can see like the summarized portion of stuff I made. And I want to say this took like straight up 4 days. This took 4 days to make, right? And obviously that's not what you get to see literally on Instagram, because they only allow you like a 1 minute reel, right? But it's important to know. So there's two sides to this. Anyhow, all of our results, we will put them in here so you guys can check them out and download them, or you're already on the Lana server and you are actually a collaborator on here, then obviously you can look at all of this. Also,
I want to
this is
highlight
great.
something.
Who did this? This was Paola. Inspired by Schiaparelli. So this is where this is where it gets like fairly fast, a little bit complicated, because how much of that is okay, right? Because this is when you start utilizing other people's work, right? You're essentially building up on other people's creative copyright content. So you always have to make sure that if you're doing this for fun, or you're doing this maybe not necessarily for sales, right? Or you're, combining some of these different results together. So just make sure you guys have this in mind as well. Okay.
Also, no, I want to show something that I added on the Midjourney.
Oh yes, please. Let's go into it.
So if you go on top, you can expand this, the text that I sent on the left. Yeah. So these are all the prompts that I found in a website, and maybe you can play around with these. It gives you like fashion photography, food photography. It's a bunch of ideas to actually just copy paste. And another one on top was the one where they used one of these. Yeah, this one, the image. And you can actually see that if you open it, the image, you can actually see they've also described the camera and the shutter speed and the aperture to actually get the image they exactly wanted. That's so crazy. Like you can define all of those parameters.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
It's crazy whether you can use prompt engineering to do on this space.
But it also tells you have to be really creative on these things. Like, look at this. This is really nice. Look at this. It's like very sculptural now that you put in Schiaparelli as like a reference.
I love the if you go on top, like the the first one that we see on screen. I love the third image on there, like the other image.
On the other image?
Yeah.
Which
third
one
out there.
The sketch?
The gray background. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, the sketch is pretty
I love
cool.
that they added the purse and everything, yeah.
But yeah, it is literally like, it looks like a sketch that, was done by Schiaparelli. So we have to be careful with utilizing these kind of prompts. But otherwise, this is quite fascinating. Also, a burger made from fabrics in the style of fashion brand Adidas, Nike, wow. 8K AR, right? Okay. I can tell, guys, you're gonna occupy this channel today. I'm happy for that. That's good. It's a good result. So yeah, feel free to play around. Also, we wanted to. There are like two things that are like most recent discoveries from Rohan and myself, and I will show you mine before Rohan shows you his, which is such a strange way of putting this. So I just recently discovered this, and you can, and you can essentially prompt textures. You guys know I'm total texture nerd, right? And so it cannot come as a surprise to you guys. Actually, Kirsty and we've been working on a virtual fabric. We are working on many cool virtual fabrics, but we pulled up one earlier to publish this maybe tomorrow, actually, already. Maybe the day after tomorrow. I need a break, or maybe at some point. But this tool allows you to create textures. So let's try this. Linen fabric featuring tropical leaf embroidery, 2 tones of pink, let's say 8K. I think it doesn't recognize these commands, to be honest. 2 tones of pink, leaf tropical leaf embroidery, metal thread, 2 tones of pink. Let's just try this, okay? I'm not saying like I got this totally figured out, but here we are. We can essentially select the fabric. So I'm gonna go with let's just say shiny one, okay? I'm gonna go with 2K. 2K is the maximum if you're not paying for this, which I'm not. And also, yeah, it's called with poly, exactly. So again, right, making a texture in Substance Designer, whole different level of knowledge, but also whole different level of customization abilities, right? While you get out here texture maps, and they can work so well if you're doing this for like some object in the background, you know, something that no one really will look at in your scene or on your clothing piece, right? But if you're trying to work with this on like your primary object in the scene, it will disappoint you, right? So I cannot really like recommend that right now. But I think nonetheless, you know, for easing our workflows and, you know, putting it in here and there and getting rid of like a little bit of work, yeah, I think that's good. Also, yeah, Kirsty, you're still safe. And also, you should check out the video that is on the board, which is essentially all about like, can AI replace our jobs right now? And it really can't. So
Yeah.
actually, let me put that in the chat because that's something that I can put in the chat.
Yeah, but we don't want them to watch it now.
Yeah, don't watch it now though. Exactly, don't watch it now. Watch it later. Okay. Where's my little other window? Here. And also, why is it not loading? Why are you not loading? I need
No,
you
you
to
can just
load.
send it to me. I can put it up if you want. What is not loading, or the texture?
No, the texture is not loading. It's supposed to load.
Oh.
But it's not.
Is it down the bottom, like that?
Yeah, but it doesn't let me. So I
Okay.
think it's not. Ah, damn. I'm so sorry. Let's try this again.
Also, Stella, we could use these textures then as image prompts in Midjourney, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can but I
That's
can
like-
also do this with my Substance Designer one. As long as I upload it to a URL, so it can be utilized. You can also use your own textures or your own prints or whatever you want on your Midjourney prompts. It's just a little bit like higher level prompting, but yeah, you can totally do that. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna try this again. Sorry for the wait, guys. I know you're not like, you hate when I'm not fast enough, don't you? Don't you? I was just kidding.
This isn't on you. This is the AI being slow right now.
Kirsty can work for 10 clients at the same time now. Actually, that is kind of true. Like, you know, if we get stuff done faster, we can definitely work for more clients at once. That is true.
Mine must be late.
She will be freelancing from the beach in Tahiti. She's shy, the AI. This is so funny. Why must we wait? Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Also, on the Discord chat, I actually saw, was it Lauren make a,
Paola.
like if you go up, was this, that wasn't Midjourney, right? That was taken from Midjourney, the one on top? Oh yeah, I think this one is cool.
Oh, Lauren, you're so cute. This is Lauren's avatar image, so she quickly photoshopped this together. Love it.
Oh wow.
This looks
Beautiful.
nice. Now you just have to transform the cheese into gold and you're good to go. I think the tool has some trouble today, so if you want, you can start sharing your screen. But yeah. Thank you for the present, Lauren. Thank you. So cute. I really wanted to show you this. I'm so disappointed it's not working.
But you can show the other things that have already been made, right? By the you can on the main screen of the website.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. I'm like, I guess so. Yeah, so wow, I wanted to show a fabric, I guess. I was so eager to show a fabric. But yeah, this is, for example, this is a good example, right? This is a really good example because it's an organic texture. And it is something that the AI can draw a lot of like reference from. But the point I guess I wanted to make with the one that I wanted to create was that there's a lot of like inconsistency in these things. You can see that this is like kind of like mashed together, I believe, from like different images and tiled together. And so if you keep it easy, you get like fairly good results, right? If you start coming up with something complex, like the texture we are currently producing in Substance Designer, then it bugs out like so fast on you.
Can you open the second row, second column? Oh, we already lost it.
Wait, what?
The second row, second column is what I wanted, but I think it's gone now already.
I think I went on to this, right? And then, no, where did I go?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I lost it. But yeah,
Okay.
This is the website, guys. Have a look at this. It's fun to play around nonetheless when it works. So yeah, just go there. Okay, cool. Let me change to your you can share your screen again if you want.
Oh, what am I doing?
I can show the tool no matter what. Like, let me show the tool actually, because I'm already.
Oh, the Hugging Face. Yeah. There's not much to show. So you can.
No, but you just wanted to point out that Hugging Face is like a really cool website if you want to get
you can
into.
open it.
Yeah, I just.
Yeah, so what I really want to point out here, if you can show the screen, yeah, it's basically all kinds of AIs you can play around with. So on the left side, if you see, you have all of those options for like text classifiers. You have, can you read some? It's not like as clear on my, yeah. Image classification, token classification, like all kinds of different text to speech to text, all of that you can play around with here. So you can choose one of the topics that you're interested in, look at all the models that exist currently. When you click them, you can actually play around with them on the side. So it's a website that kind of hosts a tiny section where you can actually play around with most of these things. So you can actually see the models that are coming up, the kind of work that they're doing currently. A lot of them are like these open source projects. It's very fascinating to see where the open source side of this is going. But yeah, most of the AI tools will be hosted here, whatever we want. Yeah. So if you go to natural language processing, you'll see the translation ones, the a little lower. So, yeah. Yeah, all of those, like text to text generation. That's the one that ChatGPT is.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those. Yeah. So yeah, play around with this. Like you will really find something really cool.
Agreed. Okay, we'll go back to our little site. Here comes the hammer of today's session, and shortly after that, we will leave you alone. I promise. The hammer of the ethics, right? So some of the ethical implications of AI-enabled tools are bias, privacy, transparency, accountability, and fairness. All of them should be considered by digital creators and not taken lightly. So again, right, we come back to the point of us being also responsible as like first adopters of this technology, how it's being shaped going forward. And I think it was never, it was never easy in all of history to set new standards, but I think this is where we as creators come in, because we have the creative mindset to think like similar to programmers. Programmers are highly creative people. Why? Because they always try to find like another way, another solution, right? It requires a lot of creative thinking. And we have been putting so much effort into separating all of these different disciplines. And right now we're actually experiencing, I want to say, a turnaround of this separation, because we're realizing we're stronger and better together, right? If we put different minds together, we're probably going to figure this out so much faster. So yeah, it's great. It helps with, acceleration of new developments. But like we said and stated before, there are also a lot of things to look out for, and a lot of things where we have to be considerate towards the work of others, right? So just using, an AI generated image and put it out as your own work, right? It is very doubtful, at least from where I stand. I think it can be used as a concept. It can be used as an initial stage of something even better, right? It can be used in a way to collage or overpaint, right? And give it your own style, your own voice. I think that is so important, because if we don't do this now, right, this is where this might all go kind of wrong, right? This is where it might go wrong. So I think that is also where we have to be very responsible about how we use these tools. So yeah, I don't know, Rohan, you want to probably I know you want to say something about this, and this is great.
Yeah, I have a lot of points. So, like,
Okay.
especially around the bias of the data sets that we use, like, especially with ChatGPT, like the initial versions of it. Now it's very tame, and they've put these algorithms to actually block the harmful texts. But at least initially, you could see how unmoderated this could get. You could see hints of racism, you could see hints of sexism, which you can still see. It all comes down to what it's trained on, how much data like is trained on like different sections of data sets that you've chosen. I think building data sets with a lot more voices and diversity also is really important, which we are learning more and more as we're training these models. How to build better moderation bots is becoming very important as we are putting these out there. And I feel like, yeah.
No, sorry, I was just reading the comment by Andrew. I don't know if you saw it. Putting the design back in design of algorithms
Yeah.
is a nice point.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even like because all of these are socio-technical systems. They're like systems where we are, uh, like, I mean, the ChatGPT is still learning from the text that we put on the chat. So, like, as much as we are shaping the technology, it's also shaping the way we function. And I think I've written that as a point in the conclusion, that it comes down to our how we're going to use it, our accountability. I think we all, like every user and the designers, and our pressure that we put on the on the companies that are building these, will really shape our future. And it's not a casual thing. Yeah.
No, obviously, we both know we agree with each other. It's so nice to talk to each other because we're like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I agree too. But it is a fairly important point, right, to make. And I think we cannot underline this right now often enough. So I'm sorry if I sound like a little bit of a preacher here, and Rohan may be right with me. But it is important. And yeah, let's move to conclusion, and then I will kind of quickly say a little bit about all of this stuff. Don't be scared. It's for your best. So yeah, wanna take a turn at the conclusion.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, the couple of points, I think we can just go through them, but at least overall, like all of these tools are really going to shape the nature of our work. They're going to shape how, like, what we focus on, what we don't focus on. So, it's a lot of changes that are coming. I think coming down to understanding where we can use this to speed up our workflows, where we are generally not wanting to do that work anyway. I think like figuring out which aspects of our work can we automate and speed up is very important. And understanding how to use these tools effectively is what will make the difference between someone who can, yeah, 10x the like speed of work in the next like couple of years, I think. I'm sure these will integrate into all of our like tools that we're using, like by the time we get there. But until then, at least, figuring out how to use them effectively will become the difference between different creators, I guess. Yeah, and the last point, but I'll get to it at the end. But yeah, you can go ahead with your conclusion.
I actually wanted to add something to what you said before, like the designer becomes the designed, right? And the design becomes the designer. It's kind of interesting because I know I've been talking way too much about this book that I just finished. It's called Are We Human? And it's written by Mark Wigley and Beatrice Colomina. Sorry, I'm really bad at remembering names, so that was exceptional. I'm remembering them. And they make a very good statement. It's actually one of my most recent Instagram quotes as well, where, you know, the realization of the interdependency of those two elements is very important to acknowledge, especially as a designer, right? So the human has become, you know, an object of design itself over the centuries, right? But at the same time, it's still creating. And now the things that we have designed become the designers as well. But in the end, this ends up to, I want to say on a philosophical level, and it ends up in like, can't believe I'm saying this here, in the sustainability loop, just not a Web3, the sustainability loop, but it ends up to be this one, right? And the sooner I think we as creators acknowledge that and adapt to that and do what Rohan just said, find our way on utilizing these tools. And this is also the reason I put in so many different tools in here for you to explore, right? Most of them I've tried out, or I've heard people saying good things about them. They are very, very different. Some are image generators, photo and video and upscalers, writer tools, music and sound, marketing tools, analytical and business and builder tools, because a lot of people underestimate how many different things creators actually have to do. We have to do all of this, and we have to be all of that, right? So all of these tools hold the potential of being helpful. So take your time, go through them. This board is not going to go anywhere, right? It's going to continuously be a free resource on here. We're probably not going to update it, but as for now, it's very recently put together. Literally, like last touches done today. So I think you're going to be fine. Also interesting to look at the further learning. So there is some, prompt builder references, prompt engineering references. But then there's also 2 or 3 channels on here on YouTube that literally everything they concern themselves with is AI, right? And creating with AI. So check those out. A very big shout out to Prompt Muse. Prompt Muse has taught me a lot. So really, really great channel. It's also between creation and engineering, which I like a lot. And she's very fearless. So I think all of us can, look up to people like that who are fearless and, looking at new frontiers. And then there's some further reading. One of them also being Rohan's personal blog. So take a look at that. And last words and also questions after that if you guys want.
Yeah, I guess one last word also I want to add that in general, like people who are not particularly in tech, like designers or creators, like who are not that tech heavy, are generally later to adopt these tools. But I feel like they are the ones who are going to get most out of these tools currently. And I feel like it's not that much of a hurdle to go to these websites and just try out these things. So I would really urge, like, if y'all haven't like used ChatGPT or something, just play around with it, like immediately right after this, because there's a lot to learn, and the hurdle is really small. Like it's really not a big deal to actually go and start playing around, and you'll see how much you can use it in your life already. And yeah.
So we're getting a lot of praise right now. So thank you guys.
Oh.
Thank you guys for listening, for finding this relevant for your work. If you have any questions, obviously you can also reach out to us afterwards, because most of you know us anyways. But if you have any questions that we could maybe answer here, in regards also to, maybe others who are not in the Alana project right now, feel free to ask. I don't know, to ask. Andrew, don't you have any questions? I'm curious if you have made your octopus with Midjourney, or if you have tried, honestly.
Oh, we should have done that as a prompt for this session.
I didn't know before he was here. I'm terribly bad at, keeping like track of the chat on this screen, and being on this screen. It's a lot for an oldie like me. Next time you have to do this.
I'm actually curious if Andrew uses ChatGPT for things, for his work.
It was very fascinating. Like also that you did the prompt generator. I never thought, I have thought of like a lot of funny ways on, doing stuff on ChatGPT, but that never came to my mind. So props to you for doing this.
Yeah.
Where can we find the link to the board? Yeah, I will put this after the recording has been processed. I will put that in the description of this video. So don't you worry, I got you guys. Can we access this afterwards? Yes, so it's entirely recorded, right? It will be processed after this. It will be posted on the Alana Discord as well, and on the Alana YouTube channel. And yeah, I've made a lot of cool octopus images, but sadly nothing in 3D yet. We need to get you up to speed on that then. Okay, great. Sounds good, guys. Thank you for joining, and well, see you in the Discord, see you around. And thank you, Rohan, for joining me in this session. That was a true pleasure.
Yeah, and honestly, this is really fun. We should do this again. Like,
We have
Maybe
to do
like,
this again. This,
oh, we have to
this
do this again.
technology
Okay, I don't have a choice.
is developing so fast. We do
Yeah.
have to do this again, honestly. Oh wait, some questions are coming on. I saw a video of a ChatGPT for Blender. Did you try it out already? I didn't try the ChatGPT, but I tried the Stable Diffusion one. So essentially putting primitives into a scene, right? And generating finished renderings out of that. And it worked fairly well. Fair warning though, it, as per usual, it has a little bit of a problem referencing things that are new. So we cannot really utilize it for Alana, which makes me sometimes sad because Alana has, you know, her own world, her own story. But you can use it for like very regular things. And actually, this is why I put in these like most recent Blender integration tutorials in here. So have a look at those. I think even the first one is AI is getting out of control in Blender with control net. So it requires fearlessness, let's just say, of coding, right? But yeah, you can essentially have this and generate this. So it is pretty exciting. Thank you
Also,
guys.
we used it for Blender, right? Like where we built this entire 3D map of like these dots that we were doing. So
Yeah,
that I
true.
think,
Yeah.
we have used this.
Okay, Paola wants to be a moderator next time. I love that. Okay, perfect. I would love to have a burger. Yum. Yeah, me too. I think I'm gonna get some food now. So thank you guys. Bye.
Good session, Stella. Yeah.
We did it! We did it!